I didn't think anything could feel wrong in my own backyard. It's one of those places you grow up trusting without question. You mow it, you sit in it, you let your guard down in it. It's supposed to be safe, familiar. But after hearing these three stories, you might start looking at your backyard a little differently. Story one. This happened about 2 years ago during the peak of the dry season, the kind of heat where even at night the air still feels heavy and slow. I live in a quiet neighborhood. Nothing unusual ever really happens. My house is fenced, with a small backyard where we keep a few old chairs and a mango tree that leans slightly over the wall. That night, around 11:30, the power went out. Not unusual. It happens sometimes. I lit a candle, opened the back door for some air, and sat just inside the doorway scrolling on my phone. Everything was still. No wind, no insects, just silence. Then I heard it, a soft dragging sound. At first I thought it was a branch scraping the wall, but it didn't stop. It moved, slowly across the yard. I leaned forward a bit, trying to see through the darkness. The moonlight barely lit the ground, but I could make out shapes. And then I saw it. Something was moving near the mango tree, not clearly, just a darker shape against the dark. I froze, thinking maybe it was but then it stopped, completely, like it knew I was watching. I whispered, "Hello?" No response, just silence again. I stood up slowly and took one step outside, holding the candle in front of me. That's when the dragging sound started again. But this time it was closer, much closer. I quickly stepped back inside and shut the door, locking it. My heart was racing now. I tried to laugh it off, telling myself it was just an animal. But then came the knock. 3 slow knocks. From the back door. I didn't move. Another 3 knocks, slightly louder. And then a voice, very low, almost like a whisper dragged across gravel. "Open!" I felt my entire body go cold. There was no way anyone should have been in my backyard. The gate was locked. The walls are too high to climb without making noise. I didn't answer. The voice came again. "Open the door." But this time it sounded wrong, like it was trying to sound human, but wasn't quite getting it right. I backed away slowly, grabbed my phone, and called my neighbor. While it was ringing, the knocking stopped. Completely. By the time my neighbor came over with a flashlight, the backyard was empty. No footprints, no sign of anyone. But the next morning, we found something. Right outside the back door, long scratch marks, like something had been dragging its fingers, or nails, across the wood. And they stopped exactly where I had been sitting. I don't open that door at night anymore. Story 2. This one still makes me uncomfortable to talk about. It happened when I was staying at my aunt's house during a school break. She lives on the outskirts of town, where the houses are spaced far apart and the nights get really dark. Her backyard is huge. It stretches back into what's basically a small patch of overgrown land. There's a broken shed back there that no one uses anymore. One night I couldn't sleep. It was around 2 a.m. and the house was completely quiet. I decided to get some fresh air and stepped outside into the backyard. The sky was clear, and for a moment, everything felt peaceful. Until I heard something from the direction of the shed, a soft thud, then another, like something hitting wood from the inside. I frowned, trying to listen more carefully. Thud, pause, thud. I told myself it was probably an animal, maybe a trapped cat or something. So against my better judgment, I grabbed a small flashlight and started walking toward the shed. Each step felt heavier than the last. The grass got thicker, the air felt colder somehow. And the sound, it kept going. Thud, thud, thud. When I got close enough, I shined the flashlight at the shed door. It was slightly open. Just a crack. The thudding stopped immediately. I stood there, frozen, debating whether to open it. "Hello," I called out. No response. Just silence. I took a step closer and pushed the door open slowly. The beam of my flashlight scanned the inside. Old tools, broken wood, dust, nothing else. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. But as I turned to leave, I heard it again. This time, right behind me. Thud. I spun around, shining the light back into the shed. Nothing. Then I noticed something that made my stomach drop. On the inside wall of the shed, there were marks, deep dents in the wood, like something had been hitting it repeatedly. From the muffin, I backed away slowly, my heart pounding. And then I heard breathing. Not mine. Slow, heavy, close. I whipped the flashlight around, scanning the darkness outside the shed. That's when I saw it. At the edge of the light, just beyond where the beam reached, a figure, standing completely still, watching me. I couldn't make out any details. Just a tall, dark shape. I didn't wait to find out more. I ran. I didn't stay until I was back inside the house, slamming the door behind me. The next morning, I told my aunt everything. She went quiet for a long time. Then she said something I'll never forget. That shed was locked last night. We checked it together later. The door was shut tight, and there was a rusty padlock hanging from it. Story 3. This last one is the reason I installed cameras around my house. It started small, just little things that didn't make sense. I would wake up in the morning and notice that the chairs in my backyard had been moved. Not drastically, just slightly off. At first I blamed the wind, but then it kept happening, night after night. One morning I found one of the chairs flipped over completely. That's when I knew something wasn't right. So I set up a small camera facing the backyard. Nothing fancy, just enough to record movement. The first night, nothing happened. The second night, nothing. But on the third night, I got something. I almost wish I hadn't. I checked the footage the next morning. At first, everything looked normal. The timestamp showed around 2:17 a.m. The yard was empty. Still, and then, movement. From the far corner of the frame, a figure slowly stepped into view. My stomach dropped instantly. It wasn't walking normally. Its movements were off, jerky, unnatural, like its body didn't bend the way it should. It moved toward the chairs and just stood there for a few seconds. Then it reached out and gently pushed one of them over, slowly, deliberately, and then it did something that made my skin crawl. It turned its head directly toward the camera. Even though it was too dark to see its face clearly, I knew it was looking straight at me, watching me through the screen. Then it stepped backward into the darkness and disappeared. I didn't sleep that night or the next. I called a friend and showed him the footage. He tried to explain it away, said it was probably just someone messing with me, but I knew better. So I installed more cameras, better ones, with clearer night vision. And for a while, madame, nothing happened. Weeks went by. I started to relax again, until one night I got a notification on my phone. Motion detected backyard camera. I opened the app immediately, and there it was. The same figure, standing in the exact same spot. But this time, it was closer to the camera, much closer, and it wasn't moving, just standing there, staring. Minutes passed. It didn't move, didn't blink, didn't do anything, just stood there, watching. And then my phone buzzed again. Another notification from a different camera, the one facing my back door. My heart nearly stopped as I switched to that feed. The door handle was moving, slowly, like someone was trying to open it, very carefully. I ran to the back of my house and locked everything, every door, every window. I didn't care if I was overreacting. I wasn't taking any chances. When I checked the footage the next morning, the figure was gone. No sign of anyone, but the camera near the door had captured something else, a close-up frame, for just a split second. As the figure moved past the camera, its face came into view, blurry, distorted, but not human, not even close. I moved out a month later, and to this day, I never watched that footage again. Because some things, once you see them, you can't unsee them.